I'm gonna tell y'all about this time how I was on the Fremont experience with one of my best friends after my mom had passed away, and I was almost trafficked. This is the dark side of Vegas nobody tells you about, or the dark side of Vegas that people.
Firsthand. Her and her boyfriend took a vacation to Las Vegas, and she's seen some very suspicious stuff that I'm going to address.
So it's 2021. I visit Vegas with my man, right? And one thing I noticed is that they drug addicts were different from the ones from ours. We live in Atlanta.
The 7th floor is supposedly haunted by a mysterious blonde that likes to go around and strangle people.
Couple was found stabbed to death at Circus Hotel and Casino.
Was there a knife involved?
Yes.
Yes!
666.
No, you're not.
Something bad here.
Hotel room 666 in Circus is the devil's room.
What the? In the bathroom.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me always. Money coming in all day. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me.
So I'm gonna tell y'all about this time how I was on the Fremont experience with one of my best friends after my mom had passed away, and I was almost trafficked. This is the dark side of Vegas nobody tells you about, or the dark side of Vegas that people know about but don't pay attention to unless it happens to them, or it does happen to them, or somebody that they know, and then by then it's too late. So this was after my mom had passed away. My friend at the time invited me on a little walking experience. We get there, everything's cool. At this time, this was a little bit before, like, there was this big thing with these big grasshopper things. I don't know. This was before then, though. So, like, this was a little bit before then. Having a good time. We're having some drinks. We're walking, getting to see all the... If you know the Fremont Street experience, then you know there's, like, a lot of stuff to do. But anyway, and there's this man. There's this, like, big dude. Like, not buff, but, like, he's just big. Bro's, like, 6'7", 6'8". He's bigger than me. And I'm 6'2", but this nigga's big. Has two people at the back of him, like I'm thinking bro's official. He has like two dudes at the back of him. They have on like these like nice fitting clothing, not like suits, but like just nice clothing. And they have this big van. First, red flag. He's sitting at the back of the van. They're like at the entrance of the parking lot, but there's nothing else in this parking lot but this van. And maybe some other cars like way in the back. That we're walking past the entrance of the parking lot, like along the streetway. And this man, he goes to me, he was like, you want to have free drinks? You want to come in, free booth? You get a free seat at the table? Just come on. Mine, I'm having some drinks. And if you know me, like, I can really get down. So in my mind, I'm just like, you know what? Like, yeah, tell me more about it. Like, tell me more. He's like, no, this man is really persistent. He's just like, no, come on, just get in. And I'm just like, the alarms are not going off in my head, you know, like, hey, don't do this. So my friend's boyfriend, they're like walking in front of me and they notice that I'm not behind them anymore. So he like walks back and the dude immediately pulls off. Like immediately pulls off. They get in the fucking car, then they leave the parking lot. He didn't even get a chance to say anything. He just saw the dude walking towards me. In his mind, he's thinking that his chick is up. Bitch, what? That's when I knew, like, okay, this nigga just tried to get me in his fucking van. In my mind, I'm thinking, like, today is such a regular ass day. I'm not thinking that this could happen to me, but in my mind, it's after everything slowed down, I'm just like, oh my God. And that's the shit nobody talks about in Vegas because it is literally so easy, so fast to just disappear.
These are the top 5 most haunted hotels in Las Vegas. I was a Las Vegas local for 20 years, so I can actually vouch for these. At number 5, we have Circus. Now, not the actual hotel in itself, but there is said to be a lot of paranormal activity in the amusement park. We all know that the amusement park is normally a place for kids, but it is said that kids are heard playing in places that they are nowhere to be seen. Also, wherever you are at certain times of the day or night, you are being watched, or at least that is what many people say they feel like, and there is no one around. At number 4, we have the Flamingo Hotel. Now, it is said by many people who have stayed at the Flamingo or have worked at the Flamingo that there are a lot of apparitions, especially in the hallways. Also, you'll see sometimes a warped face come out from behind an object looking at you, and then once you see it, it'll peer back and pull back really quickly. Creepy as hell. At number 3, and I've worked here before and stayed at this hotel myself, so I can seriously vouch for this, we have Luxor Hotel. It is not a secret, Luxor holds many haunted things such as the Body Museum with actual bodies and body parts. It also holds the Titanic Museum with actual artifacts from the Titanic. Also, there are many cases which are swept under the rug of people unaliving themselves. There are many accounts of people going to check in the hotel and people will fall from on the levels above, fall right in front of them to their, Number 2, we have Caesar's Palace. I can actually say for myself that this is probably one of Las Vegas' number 1 hotspots for trafficking, so I would definitely say to be careful. There's also a lot of cases of people being at this hotel, so please, you guys, be very careful. But there's also a lot of paranormal activity here as well. And last but not least, but certainly number 1, we have MGM Hotel. Now, if you do not know, there was a fire in November of 1980 that killed over 80 people. I believe the number is between 80 to 90, possibly 85 people that died in this fire. But what used to be MGM, its first place of residence, it is now Bally's, or I believe the Horseshoe. I could be wrong about that, so excuse me. But we also have a bonus. That would be Binion's Hotel. Now, it is said by people who work there, especially graveyard workers and housekeepers, that there is a lot of activity to be followed by apparitions. You'll smell the smell of perfume, you'll smell cigars, and also a lot of the times things that you'll place somewhere will be misplaced. If you guys are a fan of this content or my content specifically that involves paranormal activities or anything dark and ominous, go ahead, like, comment below.
And
this creator experienced this portal firsthand. Her and her boyfriend took a vacation to Las Vegas, and she's seen some very suspicious stuff that I'm going to address.
it's 2021. I visit Vegas with my man, right? And one thing I noticed is that they drug addicts were different from the ones from ours. We live in Atlanta. They drug addicts, like, they lean over a lot. Like, you can tell that they are on a needle, or at least you would assume, but something was just very strange about that. It didn't seem like they were only on the needle, only on drugs. It just something else was strange. Like, I peeped that anyways, right? There was a point in time where we walked up and down the strip, right? We was tipsy, like we was sipping on our slushies or whatever. We was walking up the strip. We seen this man yelling at the sky like he was manifesting, like he was yelling aggressively that he wanted a girl to spread her butt cheeks and fart in his face. He said it over and over again, non-stop. He wouldn't say nothing else. He wouldn't look away, wouldn't flinch. He just stared into the sky saying that. We come back down 30 minutes later, boom, he's still doing the same thing. But that's not the weird part. So the next day, we're walking, past like the hotels, we on the strip, and we're going past Flamingo Hotel. Vegas is known for their casinos. Their casinos, it wasn't like no door opening at the Flamingo. Like, it's just an open space. It don't have any doors. It's just a wide open space. I just happened to look over, and one of them, he tried to go inside the casino, and he bounced back. Like, he walked towards the casino, and then he bounced back. So I was looking like, what the world? And I'm just like, whatever. But then another one, he did the same thing. He was slouching, moving around like a zombie, and he tried to go inside the casino, and then he bounced back too, like, aggressively. And I was like, what the hell? And then my man, he was like, you seen that? I was like, you seen that? So to be clear that we saw the same thing, I was like, what did you saw? He said a motherfucker tried to go in and couldn't go in. I was like, I knew I was not tripping. It's almost like there was an invisible barrier to where they could not get in. They literally was slouching like zombies, and then they tried to go inside the casino and they bounced back. Like, it's like a force bounced them back, both of them separately. And the crazy thing is, like, all this shit is happening in Vegas. Vegas is known, Vegas is in Nevada. Nevada is known as for Area 51. Nevada is known as, for being a site for aliens. Another weird thing happened where I was high as a kite, if you know what I mean, and I was walking the hallways in my hotel, and I looked at the floor, and the patterns on the floor looked like alien heads. I kid you not, like, it looked straight like alien heads. I was like, what the heck? Like, it creeped me out, because mind you, I'm high as a kite, if you know what I mean. And so I tell my man, I'm like, do you see this? Like, just look at it. It look like alien heads. And he looked at it, he was like, damn. I looked it up on Google, like, I can see the floors, and it still looks strange in the pictures, but it's not showing what I saw. Mind you, like, you gotta see that shit in person, but I'm gonna show the pictures anyways, because it was weird, but I don't know. I don't know what I witnessed. I don't know what was that thing with the barrier at the Flamingo. That was crazy.
That girl was not tripping, and ain't no tree that good. So let me tell you a little bit about Las Vegas as a Nevadan and as a Las Vegas resident. This place is very strange. Our houseless population, a lot of them are on, but a lot of our houseless population live in the underground tunnels that are underneath Las Vegas. And underneath these underground tunnels are spirits and what we like to call the men in black, which are reptilian beings that go down there and meet. They commune down there. And when I say reptilians, they look like humans, but then they don't. They go down there to shed, if you catch my drift. And whenever our houseless population happens to run into some of these beings, I personally believe that they do something to them. And it makes them either go batshit crazy, turn to substance abuse, or just makes them like weird. We are absolutely known for our paranormal and our alien activity. We are down the street from Area 51. I mean, to the point where ginormous aliens are in people's backyards and our news is reporting on it. And there are spaceships that like to hover over strip clubs, apparently because like a year and a half ago, there was one hovering over the very famous Sapphire Gentlemen's Club. There's also a rumor that the men in black or other alien phenomenons like to cosplay as houseless people and substance abusers. And when they try to go into these casinos, they cannot. Or they turn these people into zombie. Just think of it like this. Have you ever seen Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief? And when they went to find the little pearls, it was in a casino here in Las Vegas. Where do you think they got that idea from? This location being so spiritually charged. Las Vegas is a portal, and this...
Put a finger down if you just got back from a girls' trip to Las Vegas and you spent 4 days there, 3 nights, and decided to go visit the Luxor because you've never been but decided not to stay there based off of reviews. And you get a stranger to take this picture of you and your friends, and then upon reviewing the photo, you start to see something in the top right corner. Upon zooming in, you see this figure up here, and it just kind of looks like a person standing over the balcony. But then when you zoom in, you start to see that it looks like somebody is standing on the outside of the glass, but as you can tell, there's no balcony right there. So you and your friends decide to look up other photos to see what they look like when other people stand up there. And it looks normal. You see the line from the window in front of them. So you start to talk to locals and they tell you how the Luxor has a really bad haunted history because of people unaliving themselves off of the edge of the balconies. So you guys decide to see if you can invert the image, and you get this, which you can clearly see. It looks like the dress is hanging over the bottom edge and you can't see that front line, which would mean somebody would be standing on the outside of the window, which is impossible. There's no balcony. And it almost looks like there's a device to unalive yourself in the middle. Tell me what you guys think and if you've had any experiences like this at the Luxor.
So, I just got off the phone with a very interesting FaceTime call from my friend who went to Vegas yesterday. And he had actually called me at 1 o'clock in the morning, but our bitch was knocked out because I live in Florida. He proceeds to tell me how him and his partner had went to Vegas and they were in a cab or a Uber or one of those things. They were, I guess, driving back to the hotel room or something when the person that was driving the car, cab driver, was talking to them and they could see the person through the rearview mirror. From my understanding, the person was talking in a manner that made them question the person's age, right? So my friend was like, how old are you, right? Because the conversation, it just felt to them like off. And it was funny because they were talking about how Vegas is very fucking weird and there'd be weird shit happening over there and so on and so forth. He said that the person then turns around. Mind you, they thought that this person was 18, 19, 20, max 21, 22. They both saw this person through the mirror, the rearview mirror. And when the person turned around to give their age, I think he said that the person who said that they were 50 years old, they freaked out because it was an old person. They looked at each other. My friend immediately said, stop the fucking car right fucking now. I want out of this car. I'm cracking up because I know he was fucking scared. He was like, no, Ginger, no. That shit was fucking scary. It was like some weird ass hocus pocus shit had happened. Like a shape shifting situation. That bitch was young as hell in the mirror. And all of a sudden she says, I'm 50. No, fuck out of here. Mind you, his partner, Brian, is not in one of those things. And he was saying, no, seriously, I saw it too. I saw the person change. No. And we were like, we need to get the fuck out this car. So I'm just curious, has anybody out there had like a shapeshifter moment in their life? Because I would love to hear your stories.
The Dark Side of Housekeeping, Part 2. So working as a housekeeper in Las Vegas, I came across a lot of weird people, but a lot of good people with good intentions. I had one coworker in particular, her name is Maria, who told me about the weirdest night that she had as a housekeeper after I came to her and told her about what I had just found the next day. So if you don't know, working in Las Vegas as a housekeeper, you're always on call. It doesn't matter what shift you have. You can have the day shift, mid shift, or graveyard. That's it. That's all. And you got to answer your phone whenever they need you. For her shift, it was graveyard. Very creepy. And she was cleaning her rooms, you know, doing the same thing I was doing pretty much. You have nothing else to do but clean. So it was about towards the end of her shift, like she had just a few more credits to do, just a few more rooms to do. But she let me know that she had went to one room that wasn't scheduled to check out until the very next day. It was the middle of the night, so technically it was the very next day, but they weren't scheduled to check out until like after 10. Now before this, everything in her shift was normal. She said she was just cleaning her rooms, nothing much, she didn't hear anything. But she told me that she gets to her room, she unlocks the door, and she smells something that kind of smells like pennies. She just has this smell of coins in the air, but it's dark in the room. Mind you, she's graveyard, so the rooms are dark. Normally some of the lights are on, but this particular room, it was very dark. Opens the door, pretty normal, lights off. She turns the lights on. She notices that the linens are completely off the bed, so the bed's just bare. And then she notices that the bathroom is a complete mess with towels, and also the water is still running, which is not weird, but it's weird. You remember how I said it smelled like pennies? She walked to the front side of the bed, so she didn't see on the other side of the bed. She walks to one side of the bed and everything's okay, but she goes to the other side of the bed and she sees what looks like a person, bloody everywhere, wrapped in the bed's sheeting. Come to find out, they had been stabbed 16 times and wrapped up in the bed sheets. That person died from 16 stab wounds. You remember how I said it smelled like pennies? She was smelling their blood.
Okay, so let's talk about all the haunted hotel rooms in the Luxor, because there's not just one, this whole damn casino is haunted. In fact, a lot of people think this specific casino is actually cursed. It was built in 1993 in 18 months, which is an incredibly short period of time for a casino to be built. And it was pretty well known that multiple construction workers actually lost their lives in the process. The casino is the big pyramid on the strip, and lots of people have jumped from the hallways and fallen right there on the casino floor. More specifically, one woman actually jumped down and landed in the middle of the old buffet area. Another man fell down the elevator shaft. An employee was unalived by her significant other at the front desk. One person was unalived in the parking garage when a bomb went off in their car. A mysterious case of Legionnaire's disease actually took 2 lives. And the 7th floor is supposedly haunted by a mysterious blonde that likes to go around and strangle people. Part 2 coming up. Part 2 of why the Luxor in Las Vegas is supposedly cursed. Now, before I go back to a couple more unalives and ghosty stories, most people think that the reason that this casino is cursed and was cursed from the get-go was because it's a pyramid, and those pyramids in Egypt are tombs. That's what they are. And also, supposedly, the Sphinx was built facing the incorrect direction. So a lot of people think that it's because of the Egyptian gods are upset about it. There used to be this cool little Nile ride that went throughout the casino, but supposedly it was closed down, supposedly because of so many apparitions and people saw so many creepy things on there, so they ended up closing it down, which kind of sucks because it was a fun ride. The Titanic exhibit is supposedly super haunted. A lot of people that walk through it swear they can feel the ground moving as if you're on a boat, and they have seen ghosts and all sorts of spooky things in there as well. In 2010, an MMA fighter and an ex-UNLV football player got into it, and they got into a fight over a girl. One of them was intoxicated. One of them had a punch to the face and a punch to a chest, and then he just kind of dropped. So there was an unalive there, and that was very mysterious because it wasn't really serious enough to have caused somebody to just unalive. It was just kind of like a fight. Additionally, just last year, in July, this 18-year-old woman was accused of unaliving somebody in a hotel room. If you're looking for a specific creepy room to request, room 30018 seems to be the most haunted with the most activity. And at 8:30 a.m., a lot of people have sworn up and down that this room just goes crazy. But additionally, as I mentioned before, the Deadly Blonde, if you're lucky enough to get a visit from her, she seems to go to multiple rooms and likes to give them a little choke in the middle of the night. So have fun.
Las Vegas is a city that is full of incredible stories of legend. This is certainly the case when it comes to the Luxor, where it is believed that an eerily high number of deaths have taken place at the venue, resulting in a huge amount of paranormal activity. Destined to be doomed from day one, the iconic pyramid-shaped casino resort has a notorious reputation for being linked with numerous suspicious and untimely deaths. Many guests that have chosen to stay at the 4,407-room Egyptian-themed resort have frequently shared their experiences of ghostly events. If you take a look at the history of the venue, it's not surprising that there are so many claims of haunted sightings within the property. The impressive building, which is one of the world's largest hotels and the fourth largest pyramid, opened in 1993 and took only 18 months and $375 million to build. It is thought that several construction workers died during the building process, with conspiracy theorists suggesting that the management kept these deaths under wraps to save the reputation of the resort. Reasonable grounds for haunting, don't you think? There are also some who argue that the Luxor was doomed to be haunted before it was even built, simply because it is designed like an ancient Egyptian tomb. Many suggest that the Luxor's haunting has increased since the hotel opened the Titanic theme exhibition in 2008. The exhibition contains parts of the doomed ship and personal items belonging to many of those who lost their lives in the tragedy. In Las Vegas, hotel deaths are not exactly uncommon. Approximately 1,100 visitors die every year in Sin City, with the majority being from natural causes. However, 15% of all deaths are suicides, 11% homicides, and an eerie 6% go completely unexplained. Nearly all of these deaths will not be reported on, because they know that bad news can affect tourism and reduce the city's profits. There is little proof of the many deaths that have occurred at the Luxor. However, even without these unreported deaths, it is clear something strange is happening inside of that famous Black Pyramid. The Luxor's first reported death occurred in 1996 when a lady jumped off from the 26th floor of the hotel. At the Luxor, suicides of this nature are made extra grisly, because the pyramid shape of the building means those leaping to their death do so from indoor balconies. This means instead of the street, they land in the building's atrium amongst the other guests. Another guest is also believed to have fallen to his death, this time from the 10th floor. The circumstances around his death remain a mystery, but there is no evidence to suggest his fall was voluntarily. The Luxor has also seen deaths from many other causes. These have included strangulation, as was the case in the assault, robbery, and murder of a 16-year-old girl by the name of Sarah Gerber. But perhaps the most alarming means of murder came in 2007 when a casino worker, 24-year-old Wilbaldo Durante Antonio, was killed by a homemade explosive device. The bomb was set under a plastic cup that had been left turned upside down on the top of his car. When Antonio turned the cup over, the explosive was triggered, ripping a hole in the car's roof and killing him. The casino was not evacuated, and it continued to run as normal.
Las Vegas is Sin City, as they call it. Las Vegas is a city of glitz, glamour, but underneath that is a lot of supernatural activity because of all of the unsettled spirits there. There's a lot of crime that happens there. This is for educational purposes only. There's a lot of crime that happens there. There's a lot of cover-ups that happen there. With all of the entertainment in Las Vegas, with that comes a lot of psychosis and a lot of crime, a lot of unaliving, especially in hotels, especially in certain resorts and casinos, etc. Like, these are places where spirits, aka liquors is spirits, are always flowing. So, and you know, certain establishments also have spirits as well. And I could do a whole nother video on that. The establishments that have certain kind of spirits, Las Vegas has several of those. Outside of Las Vegas, the state of Nevada itself is, the state of Nevada itself is, you know, it's a lot of desert, a lot of dry land. So it's a lot of air and a lot of space for spirits to move around as well. But Las Vegas specifically, because of the movement and because of what is under Las Vegas, you should definitely do research on that if you haven't. It is definitely a city that you need to stay spiritually protected in, I would say. Just having fun and just moving around. And, you know, I believe a lot of people probably go to Vegas and probably pick up a lot of different things. If I was in Vegas, you know, I would enjoy myself, but I would definitely have my head wrapped. I would definitely have my aura sprays with me, my oils, you know. But yes, that's a very loaded city and a loaded question, you know. Yes, I feel that Las Vegas is a city with a lot of souls wandering there, and a lot going on spiritually. And I am Madam Serena. Thank you for watching.
A few years back, I stayed with 3 friends in Bally's Hotel in Vegas, once known as the MGM Grand, until November 21st in 1980, when it burned down. The fire began from a refrigerated pastry display case in one of the restaurants located on the first floor, and apparently the fire engulfed the resort's casino, and the smoke traveled into the hotel tower, killing 85 people due to smoke inhalation. We read about this in some of the reviews of the place while booking. But I mean, that was 40 years ago. How would it really affect our stay? The rates for rooms were surprisingly more affordable than some comparable hotels for that specific weekend. Something I didn't pay attention to in the reviews, though, were the number of people who reported witnessing and hearing strange paranormal events. There are even reports of ghostly activity in the casino. The most common complaint I was seeing from guests was the presence of a smell of smoke and burning, especially on the upper floors, even though there was no one smoking. But I wasn't aware of any of this on our first night there. On our second night there, we went to a couple casinos, then got dinner and went back to the room to regroup before heading back out. Not without stopping at a liquor store for some booze beforehand, so we could all loosen up a little more before going out. After we pre-gamed for a good half hour to an hour, we all called an Uber to Omnia nightclub not too far away. By the time we got there, the liquor was definitely kicking in, and this is where my memory starts getting a little fuzzy. I remember we were waiting online for at least half an hour, and I remember my one friend Alec talking to this group of girls in front of us. Next thing that I really remember was standing at the bar inside the club with my friends trying to order drinks, and I vaguely remember bits and pieces of being on the dance floor, but when I say I blacked out besides that, I'm not exaggerating. The night became a little clearer when I left the club, but according to my friends, I left alone. I somehow made my way back to the hotel and back to the room on the 17th floor. From here on out, I remember just about everything. I was sitting on the edge of the bed with my head in my hands for quite a while, feeling like my head was spinning, when I heard what sounded to be a kid coughing on the other side of the door. I pulled myself together and went to check through the peephole, making sure no one was choking or anything, I guess. There was no one visible, so I opened the door. The corridor was empty. At this point, standing up made me feel even sicker, so I went to the bathroom to throw up. After that, I felt better and laid down in the bed to go to sleep. It was 3-something in the morning. None of my friends were back yet. I heard the coughing once again. It sounded like a young boy's coughing. I didn't feel like getting up to check again, though. I resumed trying to fall into a deep sleep, when out of nowhere, this ear-piercing ringing went off, along with a flashing red light in the room. It was the smoke alarm, and in the corner of the room, every time that flashing light blinked, I could see a person standing in the corner of the room. It looked like a young boy facing the door. I looked closer to see if I was seeing things, and on the 4th blink, I started to scream and crawl backwards out of the bed and onto the floor. I don't know what exactly I thought was happening, that I was going to be killed or that I was seeing a ghost. But after a while, as if I were experiencing sleep paralysis or a hallucination, the apparition of the boy in the corner disappeared. I gave myself time to breathe and calm down, and convinced myself I was just seeing things. And just like the boy disappearing, the smoke alarm turned off a minute later. My heart was racing for the next 10 minutes as I sat up in the bed on my phone trying to contact my friends. They got back around 4, and I decided not to tell them for the sake of sounding like a drunk fool. I did more research the next day about the hotel and supernatural sightings, and I was even more disturbed when I read that other people had witnessed and heard a boy coughing on the 17th and 18th floors. Needless to say, I didn't want to stay there anymore. Thank God it was only a 3-night trip.
Follow for more scary stories to tell in the dark. Lost in Area 15, a Vegas nightmare. There's a story locals won't tell tourists about Area 15 in Las Vegas. Late-night cleaners say it used to be a testing site, before the attractions, before the crowds. One night, a tourist named Mark decided to explore after hours. Drunk on thrill-seeking, he slipped past a staff-only door marked with faded warning signs. The hallway was cold, and the neon hum of Area 15 faded into silence. At the end of the hall, a door creaked open, revealing a room bathed in dim, pulsating red light. Inside, the walls were lined with strange machines, and in the center stood a metal table. On it lay a pale figure, its elongated body stitched together, its eyes wide open, but lifeless. Mark froze as a low hiss filled the room. The figure's chest began to rise and fall. Its eyes snapped to him, unblinking. A voice crackled over unseen speakers. Containment breach in progress. Before Mark could run, the creature sat up, its stitched mouth ripping open into a gaping maw. The lights flickered, and Mark's screams were the last sound anyone ever heard from that room. To this day, some visitors say they hear faint whispers near the closed-off hallway, begging, "Don't wake it up."
In Vegas, I saw a demon incarnated in a human vessel. If it wasn't incarnated in a human vessel, believe me, it looked like it was like there and real. I usually don't have that kind of clairvoyance. But this story, it will teach you how to recognize a demon when you see it in real life. So you know how Las Vegas is very strong, energies all over the place, there is a lot of things going on, a lot of creepy people as well. And here I'm walking with my family, and from the corner of my eye I see like a sort of bubble and nothing around this thing. He was a human being, and I'm like, wow, what's going on with that? There was, mind you, this man was standing by a bus stop, and the bus stop was on the strip. So could you imagine, like, a lot of people would have been close to him, but nobody was there, and he was wearing this black coat. And here the energy was releasing. So he had the core was black, and then coming out there was a sort of grayish color. So from black to grayish, bubbling. This thing was a bubble. You know me, I never seen a demon with my eyes. So I was like, another weirdo. But then he saw me, and he was mad. It's like he was bothered because I saw him. I'm sorry, I have psychic eye. I usually see, attachment, if the people have black things around them or on top of them. But this one was different. This one was incarnated. So it must be one that had the power of manifesting. But you notice that around these people, there is a halo that is huge, and people don't stay around it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't matter how much busyness there is in that road. This is what it will give it away. In Vegas, I saw.
So this story was submitted by one of my viewers on TikTok, and it was an experience that happened in Las Vegas. So it says, let me tell you about the time that I made the worst mistake of my entire life. Booking a room at the Rosewater Grand Hotel in downtown Las Vegas. I wasn't even supposed to be there. My reservation got canceled at another hotel, and everything else was either booked or way out of my budget. The clerk at the Rosewater says that they only had one room available, room 616. The second I walked into the lobby, I felt like the air shift. You know that heavy, still feeling that you're walking underwater? That's what it was. The place looked old Hollywood, glamorous but frozen in time, like something preserved in amber. The chandelier flicked even though there was no drift. I should have turned around right there and then, but I didn't. The elevator ride to the 6th floor was silent, even though I swore I heard whispering. Not in the elevator, but around it, like voices trapped in the walls. The bell dinged, the door opened, and I stepped out into the hallway. The hallway looked off. Every door was closed, but 616 had a crack of light sipping from the bottom. I slid the key in. Click. The room smelled like stale perfume and something else, something metallic, like rust or blood. The wallpapers were peeling in some spots, but what really freaked me out was the mirror above the dresser. It had some ornament gold frame with carving that looked almost like faces. I tried to ignore it and went straight to sleep early. That night, I woke up around 2:13 a.m. I remember the exact time because the digital clock beside my bed was blinking, even though I hadn't noticed that before. My mouth was so dry, so I grabbed some water. And then that's when I saw her. In the mirror. A woman, pale as a piece of paper, standing behind me. Her eyes were hollowed, like her soul had been sucked out centuries ago. She was dressed in a blood-soaked red dress, her mouth stretched open in a silent scream. But then I turned around, no one was there. I froze. My body wouldn't move. I was stuck staring at the mirror, and the woman started moving. Not in real time. She glitched, like an old VHS tape. One moment she was at the edge of the mirror, and then suddenly behind me again, and then right in front of me, staring straight through me. I remember whispering to myself, this isn't real, this isn't real, this isn't real, multiple times, over and over again. The next morning, the mirror was gone. I swear to you, it was gone. Just a clean wall, like it had never been there. I went to the front desk to ask about it, and the woman gave me this look as if she'd heard this story 1,000 times before. She leaned in and said, room 616 was sealed off in 1997 after a woman named Margaret set herself on fire in front of the mirror. You should have never been given that key. I told her I still had the key, and when I showed it to her, it was blank. No number, no hotel name, just a rusted, smooth brass key that looked like it hadn't been touched in decades. I left that place and never looked back. But some nights when I sleep in a mirror-facing bed, I swear I see her in the corner, still watching, still waiting. Don't ever stay in room 616, not in Vegas, not anywhere. I hope you enjoyed the story. See, I be trying to tell y'all about mirrors, like sleeping in front of mirrors, and especially if you don't know, like the house that you live in is actually haunted because you probably have never had any activities. Because at the end of the day, any house, if you're not the first person who live in that house, something have happened in that house. Maybe someone have passed away in your house, or maybe your house was built on top of a cemetery, a burial ground. You never know. I mean, back in the days, people used to have their own burial ground right behind their house. So sometimes, and even if your house don't have all those things going on, if your mirrors are facing your bedroom, first of all, it's bad feng shui anyway to have your mirror facing your bed. But if there are spirits that are lingering and they're just lost, they can get trapped in your mirror, especially if your mirrors are not covered, they're facing right while you're sleeping, you know, because mirrors are portals. So when I heard that story, I was like, yep, sounds about right. As soon as you say something about a mirror, I was like, oh Lord, there's always something with a mirror. It's probably going to be somebody popping out of the mirror. And sure enough, that's exactly what it was. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this story. Never sleep in front of a mirror, and also never stay in any room that's 616. Okay, or 13, room 13. Even in hospitals, a lot of hospitals don't even have room 13 because they consider it as bad luck. I don't think the number 13 is bad luck, or number 3, but some places are so superstitious. I've worked at 4 different hospitals where they would always skip room 13. I don't know why. Even in the OR and regular patient rooms, they always skip room 13. But then I've also worked in nursing home where they also have skip room 13 or just block it off, and or they do have it and nothing happens. So I don't know. If they do have it though, it's usually the room that a lot of call bells will go off with nobody in the room. You know, it's kind of sort of would be considered haunted if you think about it. But anyways, that's the story. I'll talk to y'all later. I hope you enjoyed this video. Love you guys.